everybody, welcome to our September garden talk. David Russell, our crazy bug guy, is going to be doing a program on spiders. They're our friends. So David, take it away.
So again, welcome everybody. Thank you for showing up. Learn about spiders, why they're your friends, and why you should protect them. As you can see from the first slide, that's why I have that. And spiders in the home and the garden. That particular picture right there was taken 2 months ago in my bathroom window. That is a long-bodied spider or cellar spider, the one you see hanging upside down in the basement or in the attic, that when you walk by it, it vibrates in the web. That is a brown marmorated stink bug that the long-bodied spider has captured. Unfortunately, she didn't get to keep her prize. My wife came into the bathroom, saw it half wrapped up, grabbed a tissue, took it off of course, the long-bodied spider ran because she felt the vibration in the air pressure. She ran to her hiding spot. The wife took the tissue, the brown marmorated stink bug, and it joined everything else in the septic tank. Unfortunately, she didn't, like I say, she didn't get to keep her prize. But that's a perfect example of why spiders are your friends inside your house. Things you don't normally see. And again, I mentioned air pressure and vibration. They are your friends for sure. This is the breakdown of what a spider anatomy looks like. Now, a spider, unlike us, has an exoskeleton. The exoskeleton is relatively soft, so that if a spider falls from 3 to 5 feet, it could break the exoskeleton and kill it. A spider is not an insect. An insect has 3 body parts. A spider has 2, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. The pedipalps are what help identify, or helps me identify, what type of spider it is, because each species has different types of pedipalps. The abdomen, and as you can see on the backside, the spinnerets, only females have spinnerets. The abdomen and the cephalothorax set it aside from other insects. Now, spiders are commonly found in the home, but you very rarely see them. There's a lot of spiders in your house, believe it or not. The following slides will give you an idea of what spiders are in your home are common versus the uncommon. Then I have some at the end that are uncommon. Some that are coming here eventually, but most of the spiders live in your garden. Now, one of the things that people don't realize is how many spiders there are in an area. In a 1 acre area, and I live on a 1 acre piece of land, there's between 2,000 and 3,000 spiders per acre. And they are nature's insect control. Now, there are some things that I found this year that spiders don't like. I have 2 grass spiders living by my patio door about halfway up. And I found a white tussock caterpillar, white tussock moth caterpillar. Went, got my gloves, picked it up because they do have spines that can cause irritation, the tussock moth. I dropped it in the grass spider's nest. Next thing I know, she rushes out and she pushes it out of her nest. I couldn't believe it. I stood there and watched that and I said, here I am feeding you and you're throwing the food away. Well, apparently the white tussock moth doesn't taste good to the grass spider. We'll get into grass spiders later. You've seen them in your yard. And I have a funny little story about that. Later, a close friend of mine had a run-in with a grass spider. The cellar spider, the one you just saw in the first slide of spiders, she hangs upside down generally in a disarticulated nest, generally in the attic and the cellar, of course. That's why they call it a cellar spider, between the rafters. When you walk down in the basement or your cellar and you see this vibrating spider, this is what you're seeing. She feels the air pressure change as you walk down there. She feels the vibration of your feet and your movement through the air. All spiders do that. They have notoriously bad eyesight. So they go by air pressure around them and by vibration. Now, a little background on myself. When I was 6 years old, my parents went to Jackson, Tennessee to visit family. On that excursion, we went to the Memphis Zoo. Now, I'm 6 years old. I'm interested in everything in the zoo. A herpetologist was handling snakes and telling us about snakes. And I kept watching the entomologist with a spider. The snakes had a big crowd. The spider guy had maybe three. I'm with my aunt, my grandmother, and my mother, my two cousins, and my sister. And the entomologist says, I'm looking for a volunteer who wants to hold a pink-toed tarantula. And I go, Mom? She says, eh. I put my hand up and says, oh, we have a volunteer. Come here, young lad. So I go out to the entomologist and he says, stand here, put your hand out. I put my hand out and he sits down. Now, mind you, I'm 6 years old. This tarantula filled my hand. And I am just in awe of this fuzzy little creature with two big eyes and four little eyes. And it's like, oh, wow. And I'm just staring at it. Apparently, she felt comfortable enough to walk up my arm. She got to about here and she stopped. And I could feel the little claws on the end of her legs. And it's like, I'm staring at her eyes, she's staring at me, and we're just, wow. Well, my love affair immediately took off. My grandmother wanted to put a stop to it when the pink toad got up to about here. My grandmother went nuts. She started yelling, it's gonna bite his neck, it's gonna bite his neck. The entomologist slowly reached over, took the spider off, and set it back in a cage. He explained to me about the exoskeleton of the pink-toed tarantula. Now, he was demonstrating southwest spiders. Memphis, Tennessee doesn't have tarantulas. And he was explaining about the tarantula, and I was just enthralled that this little thing, and he also explained that it was in its second molt and that it probably had 2 to 3 more molts to go before it was full-grown adult, which would be approximately, in this case, the size of the palm of my hand with the legs expanded. She was beautiful, and that's where my love affair began. So I like spiders. This one is definitely a friend. Creepy, crawly things in the basement get eaten, or as you saw in my bathroom window picture, the brown marmorated stink bug, which is an invasive insect. One that we all find, well, I shouldn't say that. Very rarely do I see it in the house. It's this common cobweb spider. It's often mistaken because of the bright black and mottled color. It's often mistaken in the house for a black widow. You see cobwebs in the corners. You see cobwebs all through the house. This is 99% of the time what's doing it. Again, as you can see, it builds a disarticulated web. And I keep using the term disarticulated. It's a strand here, multiple strands, but no design. And you'll see why later. Her coloration and size and shape make people think that it is a black widow spider. It's not. Don't be afraid of it. Just take your Swiffer or your vacuum cleaner and vacuum the cobwebs down. You don't notice generally the cobwebs until the dust has settled down. Up in the upper corner up here, and I can't get my pointer to point, but up there you see a little ball. That's her nest egg. Kind of like the praying mantis, that once they mate, the praying mantis bites the head off the male and devours it. Basically, if the male spider doesn't get away, becomes food for the new eggs developing. The common cupboard spider, again, it's often mistaken because of its black color for a black widow. It is not. Now, I'm going to put the caveat in there. If you are allergic to bee stings, don't try to handle spiders, because all spiders are venomous and could cause a reaction if you are allergic to bees, bee stings, wasps, etc. Again, now I know I have these in my house. I've been in the house over 30 years. I have yet to see one. Air pressure and vibration across the floor. Just you walking from one part of one room to the other sends them into hiding, which is, I think, great for the spiders, even better for you, so you don't freak out. And here is the northern black widow. It's found in attics, garages, rafters, and even found under the eaves and in the foundations of your house. If you're lucky enough to see one, again, I know I have them in my garage, in my attic, because I see their webs. I see their egg sacs. I have not, in 50 years, seen one of these northern black widows that I've lived here in Batavia, in 100-year-old houses. They are there, but you don't see them because, again, the air pressure and the vibration chases them into hiding. This is the only spider that I don't like. And the yellow sac spider is one that will give you a nasty bite, whether you're allergic or not, and it'll be an ulcerative type bite. That's the only one that I kill. Only in the house. Now, where the wall joins the ceiling is generally where you'll find this small cotton swab type nest. And inside that nest is where she will be. I use the Hoover technique to remove it. Take the vacuum cleaner, reach up and just suck it off the ceiling. And the reason I use the vacuum cleaner is, unlike using a tissue or something like that, she won't escape. And what happens with the vacuum cleaner, the impeller that provides the air breaks up the body. Again, it's a soft exoskeleton and is easily broken. So this is the only spider in the house that I get rid of. Now, there's a couple spiders down below. If I find them in the house, I do take them outside. But the yellow sac spider is found in the garden, on plants, all the time. But again, because of the vibration of the ground you're walking across, you don't think about it, but you walk across the ground, you create vibration. As you move, you create air pressure. And that air pressure chases them away underneath, close to the stem, or down the stem to the ground. Jumping spiders are one of my most favorite. Now, jumping spiders don't build nests. They work by vibration and air pressure, not only from us, but also for the prey. They sense the vibration and the air pressure as the prey moves around them. Now, the spiders are notoriously bad eyesight. I don't care what spider it is, they all have bad eyesight. 6 to 8 eyes, depending on the species of the spider, picks up movement around them, picks up the sensitivity down the side of the cephalothorax, pick up the vibration, the hairs on the legs, if they have them, picks up the air pressure changes. It's quite a complex system, and it works. I know most of you have seen one or many of the many that inhabit the area of the jumping spiders, but most jumping spiders aren't much bigger than, I would say, that big. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's probably 1/8 to 1/4 inch in size in this area. And that's the way you'll see them sitting on your table, your leg, whatever. They aren't that venomous. In fact, one of the most venomous spiders isn't a spider, it's an opalion, which I'll get to later. But they just love to hunt singly, like a wolf spider that doesn't spin a web. I love jumping spiders, as you can see. Huge eyes, they pick up blurred movement. The other eyes pick up movement around and behind them. And that's why when you come close, besides the air pressure and the vibration, they sense the movement and they realize you're not prey and they run. As you can see, there's many different types in this area of jumping spiders. And they're all beautiful. And they all hunt singularly. They do not spin webs. The funnel web or grass spider. This I was telling a couple up here in front, master gardeners, that in my sliding glass door, patio door, I have put a cat door in, so that leaves the lock mechanism where the sliding lock fits open. I have a grass spider that has built a nest, typical grass spider nest. As you can see, I wish I could point it out to you. The little hole in the middle of this nest on the grass is where she hides. And this is how she hunts. She feels the vibration of an insect on the web and she attacks. And believe me, she is fast. This is the one I put the white tussock moth on and she rejected it. I felt bad. My wife, on the other hand, 2 days ago says, I think it's getting too cold. I haven't seen your grass spider at all. I said, she's still there. She's just hiding. She's staying out of the weather, staying warm. But she's down in the locking area that's cut into the aluminum. The story I promised you, I had a lady friend many, many years ago. I'm not going to mention the color of her hair, but you can assume that what it is, that found one of these nests on her lawn, wanted what was in there, stuck her finger in it, and of course, somebody comes in your home, you're going to fight them. Well, the spider saw the finger coming, bit her. Her finger swelled up twice the size it should have. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. She was telling me about it, and I says, why would you do that? She says, I wanted to see what was in there. She found out, but they do have a defensive mechanism that they will bite you. In her case, she had a slight reaction to it. The finger swelled up. I'm just glad she wasn't bitten on the head. And but you can see the coloration. The 2 stripes on the cephalothorax, and in this case, slightly mottled striped abdomen. My wife spotted a spider in the bathroom between probably an area about that wide, probably an inch wide between the linen closet and the wall. I went in and looked at it, took pictures of it. I couldn't identify it. And it's like, I worked on it a week trying to figure out what it was. About a week later, she says, there's a spider in the sink. I think it's the one that was in the corner because that's gone. So I go in, I take a picture of it, blow it up because I'm old. I need the camera to make pictures bigger, labels bigger. And it turned out it was a grass spider. What I had seen in the corner was an early hatchling, one of the first, second instars of the spider. She went through her molt and became the younger adult. Now, she probably had 2 to 3 more molts to go before she was a full-blown adult. So I took a little plastic cup and a piece of paper, carefully scooped her out of the sink, took her outside, and let her go. My wife has gotten used to me doing this kind of stuff, so she says, kill it! Not anymore. She says, what took you so long in getting it outside? I was being gentle, knowing it's got a soft exoskeleton. They are very beneficial. Any creepy crawlies across their nest, they eat it. The wolf spider, often mistaken for a brown recluse, which we'll get to later, but again, extremely beneficial. 30 plus years ago, when we moved into our ranch house, one got into the kitchen and my wife freaked out. I got a glass, I got a piece of paper, slid it underneath, took it outside, put it back outside. Like a lot of spiders from outside, they get in the house and they provide some type of, if you will, protection against insects, such as cockroaches, things like that. The wolf spider is rather unique in that it doesn't build a web and it carries its baby on its back. She is a very beautiful spider, and a thing that amazes me is you'll see them walking across the floor, crawling up the wall, out in the garden, and you don't think how fast they are until you see them attack prey. And then it's like, whoa, what did I miss? Move so fast, it's hard to believe. Orb weavers. This is the season for everybody to see orb weavers if you look. Now, again, at my house, the patio doors, I have a cross spider, orb weaver, which is my favorite spider, building a beautiful web every night. She has to rebuild it every night because in the morning when my wife goes out to feed the birds, she forgets it's there, walks through the spider web and destroys it. Now the cross spider, the golden orb weaver and other orb weavers in this area generally come out between late July and early October. That's when you'll see the big, really symmetrical webs, one strand thick. They are one of the most beneficial spiders that you'll find. I turn the porch light on and I stand there and watch her as she collects moths and other flying insects at night. And she'll be sitting in the middle of the web, totally immobile. And then all of a sudden, a moth will fly in and boom, she's there. Almost so fast I can't see her move. It is just phenomenal to watch the spider attacking insects. This is the black and yellow, or Argiopia arenata, the golden orb weaver. If you see in there a kind of in the center where she's sitting, just above and below her, a series of zigzags. If you've seen her in the garden and seen the big white zigzags, the reason the zigzag is there is because it deters birds from flying through her nest. And what happens is the light that we don't see, because we can't see into the ultraviolet, where animals, insects, spiders see into the ultraviolet. That's why animals run away from you at night. They see you coming. They see your ultraviolet aura or infrared. And you're illuminated. We can't see each other at night in the weeds, but they can see us and they run. The same thing with this particular spider. She builds that zigzag in there to keep birds and other flying things away from the nest. Tries to keep animals from going through it. If there's probably half of you have seen these in the wild or more, I'm sure. They're just a beautiful spider to look at. Now there's a couple more that, this is my favorite, the cross spider. I have on my phone, my background is the cross spider that I took a picture of. She posed so perfect in my garden. I went in the house, got my black light backdrop that I photographed, glassware, uranium glassware, and I put it behind her, and she just sat there. I got in real close and took a picture. I later learned by studying the Jorrel spider that all orb weavers will freeze in the nest when you come close. They will freeze in position. The cross spider, the golden orb weaver, and the many different spiders that are there, they'll freeze from 3 to 2 minutes, depending on how threatened they feel. They will stop moving totally because you're not prey, you're danger. So they stop moving. This was in my tent screen. Again, my wife came in the house and says, "You got to see this. There's this beautiful spider out there." So I came out, I took a picture of it. And I just like cross spiders. This is the one that has built the orb outside my door, my patio door. And the one my wife keeps destroying the web. The shamrock spider is in this area. I have never seen one. It's southern Ontario and western New York, northern Pennsylvania, but I've never seen one. I would love to see one. It's a beautiful spider. Again, it's an orb weaver. This time of the year, builds the orb web. Something you see or don't see in the garden, again, because of the movement, is the white-banded crab spider. Now, the white-banded crab spider, because of its body shape, looks like a crab. And it attacks not with a web, but like the jumping spider, the wolf spider, it's a solitary hunter and will attack insects in the garden that are crawling on your flowers and plants. I try to tell people, don't spray your flowers with insect spray because you kill all the spiders and you're taking away a beneficial insect killer that Mother Nature has provided you. And the cousin, the goldenrod crab spider, guess where you'll find her most of the time? If you have the goldenrod. I've looked at all the goldenrod I have on my property. I let it grow, much to my wife's chagrin. I let ragweed, Queen Anne's lace, all the other native plants grow for pollinators. But I have looked at all of the goldenrod over the years and I have never seen one of these. They are in the area, but again, because of the air pressure and the vibration, I must chase them away when I walk up to the goldenrod to look at them. Fishing spiders. How many of you have ever seen a spider on top of the water in a pond or even in a kiddie's pool that has gone green and got stuff? Nature's way of helping you control mosquitoes. They eat the mosquito larvae that come up to breathe. They'll pick them out of the water and eat them. Nature's control, like bats, can eat as many as 1,000 mosquitoes a night, up to 10,000, depending on how heavy the infestation is. Again, a lot of people think this is a wolf spider walking on water. Wolf spiders are great, but they can't walk on water. The fishing spider does its job very well. Once in a while, you'll see a very large, very mature fishing spider with a small minnow. That's rare, but it does happen. Now we get into not a spider, but an opalion. Has 8 legs. What makes it different from the spiders is the fact that it only has one body part. It's all combined. The head, thorax, and the abdomen are all together. Most commonly known as the daddy long legs. Actually, it's a misnomer. It's a harvestman. This one you're not too familiar with, but this one will be with a leg span probably about half the size of my palm. It does a great job in the garden. It's a solitary hunter. Again, it runs from you when you come close. The big thing about them is they have horrendous eyesight, but they are one of the most venomous spiders there is. However, because the mouth parts where they would bite you are so small, they can't even puncture the skin. It's very, very easy to see that they won't leave a mark on your body. I've been playing with them ever since I was a kid. Unfortunately, some of the things I did, I regret now. This is the one that you'll see most often running around, sometimes with a few stripes on the body. This one is probably body-wise, again, about 1/4 of an inch or less. And again, solitary hunter, they run everywhere. Again, they have 6 eyes. They hunt by feel, like the jumping spider. They definitely are beneficial in the garden. You want these around your garden. If they get in the house, take a cup, piece of paper, slide it under there, escort them back out. They aren't going to bite you. They aren't going to hurt you. They may tickle you a little bit, but that's about it. Now, something that really agitated me about the news, Rochester and Buffalo ran with a story that was put out by the larger news services about an invasive spider that was moving north. The flying poisonous spider. It's called a Jorl spider. It's coming to Western New York. 2 years ago, the site that had spotted Jorl spider reports in Buffalo area had 6 reports, Rochester had 4. All 10 of those reports were the golden orb weaver, all in the fall when she was there. The Joro spider is an orb weaver. She doesn't fly, no wings. She does what's called ballooning, where when they're young, they put out a string of filament webbing, and the wind carries them to a new location. It is a wind drift spider, as I call it. They call it ballooning in entomology because the spider, quote, flies, unquote, the balloon across to a new home. She's a beautiful spider. She is venomous. She will give you a bite if you frighten her or mishandle her. Now, I don't advise handling any spider in any way other than with a cup and a piece of paper to escort them out of the house. I may be the crazy bug guy, but I'm not that crazy. The spider can have a span with its legs, as you can see the black and yellow legs on there. Her span will be almost 9 to 10 inches. Her body shape is the standard orb weaver body shape. She's an invasive from the Orient, Asia, that came into Georgia about 12 years ago and has been slowly moving north with the wind. She has been spotted in Maryland, southern New Jersey, and hasn't gone any higher than that. The last time I checked, she hadn't made Long Island, had not made southern or northern New Jersey or southern New York yet. So I'm looking at anywhere up to 10 years before we see her here. She will be coming up depending on the weather patterns of the winds. Again, because it's a ballooning or wind drift spider. And there's a lot of spiders that move that way. As you can see, she is a very pretty spider. I want to say these are my credit references as to where I got all the information, the pictures, etc. Not counting those that I personally took. Many reference books. I have books on spiders that I refer to in here, the web, other places like that, that I get information from. I learn every time I look up a spider. For instance, the one that was in my bathroom that I couldn't identify, that I took a picture of and blew it way up, because of the coloration of the second instar, second molt, hadn't taken on the adult coloration yet. So I had to wait till it went through the third molt, climbed in the sink, take the picture, blow it up. I'm old, so I have to do it that way. But as soon as I identified it, I says, oh, wow. I went back out on the internet and looked up the different instars or molts of that particular spider. And the second molt was the spider that was there originally that my wife found. Years ago, my wife would have freaked out, smashed the spider. Now she comes and gets me and, what kind of spider is that? I love it. She doesn't kill them now. She realizes that they are good. In fact, the other day she came to me and says, hey, you know that fuzzy little thing that runs through the kitchen really fast? I says, the house centipede? She says, yeah, that thing. I saw one. I says, great. That is another one of nature's wonderful insect control. Like the wolf spider in the house, some of the other spiders in the house, they come in accidentally. In fact, the one that came in that when I took it out, had it on the piece of paper. I took a Q-tip, wet the tip of the Q-tip, and gave it to the spider because no water source for it in the house. The spider sat there for a couple minutes, literally drinking from the Q-tip. My wife asked me what I was doing. I told her, and she says, now I know why they call you the crazy bug guy. When she finished getting her drink, that's when I put the cup back over and took her back outside. Whether she survived or not, I don't know. I like to think that, yes, I gave her a drink. It helped hydrate her, and she could continue on doing insects in the yard for me.